welcome to Fake Deep Thinking, just a group of guys talking about a bunch of bullshit. Today we have with us John,
You're
Doc,
I'm back.
and myself, Eugene. All right, guys, so we're going to get into pretty much, Doc's back. Texas went through a winter storm. So, Doc, tell us about it, because you personally had some issues with this, no?
Yeah. So we had I don't know what, like a week-long ice age. Like let's just call it that. So essentially, Texas got fucked by a winter storm. Um, I mean, I don't know if they didn't expect it to show up to Texas or they didn't expect it to do what it did, but it definitely kicked Texas in the balls.
A late winter
And
get-in or whatever.
yeah, it really got in. And Texas panicked, and everything pretty much broke all across the state. So now I'm kind of living through the fallout of all that. We have like what the EROTC, and everyone's questioning and why they messed up. Um, the governor's, out for blood to figure out what happened and stuff like that. And it was a whole mess. So for those of you that don't know, I'm sure you saw it on the news that Texas was in a winter storm, but
How
we
cold did
ended
it
up.
get?
So the coldest night for me outside was 8 degrees.
Dang.
Um, the warmest in my apartment on that night was, I think, 40, 50. So it wasn't super, super bad for me. But I can only imagine like the homeless people and stuff like
huh.
that, and other people that had poorly insulated homes and stuff like that. I was lucky enough to live in a really old apartment complex that's brick. So it holds heat like a mother, and normally it sucks because it's an old place. People don't live in here because Texas is hot and it keeps heat in. And this was that one time where like the fact that I hate that part of this building actually helped me out the most. So it was weird.
Hey,
Also,
blessing in disguise, dog.
yeah, it was insane.
Because I
Also,
saw
the
some
pipes in
pictures,
my
dude.
building are like they're made like solid because they're old. So they didn't actually burst.
Nice.
Only the exposed pipes on like one of the rooms to the laundry room actually were the only ones that bursted, but it was like totally easy fix compared to
Dude,
like
that's awesome.
the newest buildings downtown that almost all had their pipes break because they all
I've
have
seen some of
sprinkler
the pictures
systems.
and the videos, dude. They're
Yeah,
crazy.
the sprinkler systems, they're super thin pipes, man, and those things just shattered like nothing. Millions of gallons were like thrown out into the street, and then it just froze over. It turned into a freaking ice river because it was so cold, and they spread out the water. I don't know if you saw that video of the domain where it's just like gallons gushing out of the building. It looks like a river.
Hmm.
And so the whole big issue too, like it's also being politicized and stuff like that because liberals are saying that the Republicans are blaming the ice turbines freezing, or not the ice turbines, but like the wind turbines freezing for us losing power. But the truth of the matter is, the whole like stigma of Republican energy comes from coal and all that stuff. That thing froze too. The gas mill and stuff like that, that froze too. The turbines, like I said, froze.
Texas wasn't
Um,
built for this.
it just wasn't. Everything's exposed. Everything's weighed down because you're used to hurricanes and
Should have invaded.
tornadoes, but everything's outside. And so when the cold came, it was all exposed and it just popped it all. And so one of the worst things about Austin, though, was that the entire state was advised to cycle energy so that some people could have some on time to warm their homes and then, lose it to give it to other people. We're all going to share energy so that we could all stay warm throughout the week. Well, my city is not built like that because my city has all of the hospitals and emergency centers in one area. So when they shut off the power, they realized they can't cycle energy because to cycle it would have to divert it from the places that have it on currently, and that was the center of the city. And if they did that, then they would kill everybody in the hospitals. So for like 4 days, they just shut down all the residences everywhere, and we just had to sit and wait it out, and then we just had to deal with it. Well, like San Antonio and I don't know about Dallas and how they made it, but they were like cycling their energy. They were doing what they were supposed to, and we weren't. We were just sitting there, just freezing our asses off. It fucking sucked. So
Yeah,
that's a
you
whole
you had to get
that's a
out of
whole
there. You got out of
bullshit.
there in time too.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to bail out of the city once the sun came out. I'd never driven in ice, and I hated it, but I made do because I just didn't want to sit in the middle of the city and play The Last of Us. So
Yeah, dude, driving on ice sucks, man. In my
He
neighborhood
said
here,
play
and
The Last of Us.
I'm my neighborhood with this guy.
it got that way, bro. I hiked for 3 miles to a convenience store downtown so I could get some food because I'd been out of food for two
What?
days. Yeah, dude. I everything in my apartment's electric. When everything went, when the power went, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't boil water. I didn't have dry wood to make a fire. I mean, I probably would have burnt down that guitar if it got bad enough. But
Don't you have a tree
um,
outside your apartment? Those little bushes?
it's wet.
It's true.
It's ice, bro.
You could bring
You
it
can't
inside.
burn. You can't burn wet wood. It takes forever, and you waste all your gas trying to light it on fire. So you have to make sure wood stays dry.
I know I say dry, but I mean, I wouldn't immediately burn my guitar. I'd at least go get the bushes and start preparing.
Oh. Honestly, man, that guitar would
Like
probably
that's your
be.
guitar, dog.
That could, no, that would be the last case scenario. If anything, that would be kindling. But
Yeah, you make that
yeah,
switch.
that
You just make that switch, huh?
yeah.
Doc's gonna survive.
But I'm trying to think. Like, I'm trying to think. No power. What do you do, dog?
Dude, people died, man. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah,
There's
didn't a family die from
The
carbon monoxide in
carbon
the
they burnt their
garage?
home down. They're trying to keep it warm.
Man,
A couple.
that's so
There's a couple
sad.
different stories. There was people who burnt their house down too. Had the grill on.
Yeah.
Texas. It was Hank Hill.
I don't know if anybody actually died from I don't know if it's asphyxiation technically, but
Yeah, they did. Oh, carbon monoxide.
yeah,
It
exactly.
was a
Like some
mom and a
people
daughter.
had their generators inside their homes and stuff like that, and then I think they died from the monoxide because you're not supposed to keep it inside.
Yeah, there was a mom and daughter who died leaving the car on in the garage.
Yeah, right here, Dallas man
man,
found dead.
that's
Many
lame.
may have died from carbon monoxide poisoning during winter storm.
Yeah, it was, and it's crazy that it was like 3 days, dude. By the following Saturday, it was 70 degrees again, and we were just like, oh, okay, I guess we're back to normal. But the crazy thing within Austin too is that when all the power went out and everything, the water went out too, man. And like the power plant for the water, when that thing went out, all of our water was completely just unpurified. We had to boil it for like 4 days. I barely got water yesterday and took a shower as soon as I got it. I hadn't showered in like 8 days, dude.
Damn.
I literally ended a work call and was like, yo, I am out. I need, I'm starting to stick to myself. Like, I'm done.
I
I'm
got a
going.
shower.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's tragic, man. Yo, I was reading this. This one,
Yeah, I seen it.
a 7-year-old man died after falling on his front lawn and being stuck in the cold for 2 hours.
Oh, man, that's heartbreaking, bro.
I know, dude. That boy. Oh my God. I have
That's-
a dark sense of humor.
Gosh,
I
that's
now
sad.
officially know I have a dark sense of humor.
All right,
This
why?
has nothing to do with me. I did not put this thought in my head.
Just say it.
I was like, that boy needed life alert, boy. He had that button around his neck. Told him he fell.
Dude,
And he couldn't get up.
8 degrees. You said 8 degrees.
Yeah, I woke up. I looked at my Apple Watch. I saw an 8 for its temperature. That's normally 2 to 3 digits. I laughed and I grabbed another blanket and just went back to bed.
Dude,
I would have went
that's
insane.
nuts.
I hate the cold. I would have went fucking insane. I hate the cold. The only type of cold I like is when it get too hot under them blankets and you put that one foot out the cover. You know what I'm saying? Let that one foot get the little breeze in, and you're like, okay, balance. Balance is a key. Other than that, I hate the cold. I wear 10 boots to sleep if I got to.
Heck no.
And it's not even like a heavy snowstorm too. It was only like 6 inches of snow. Like other places, like that's nothing, man. It's just
was-
Texas isn't built for it, man.
Yeah,
And we
that's all
couldn't-
that happened. Is Texas not built for snowstorms? Like, because this
Yeah.
happens in cities, and this doesn't happen. That's only because like they insulate their piping, and like you said, the windmills they have they're winterized. Texas is just
Well,
like
It's crazy, dude. Because in that day when I went hiking into the convenience store, Austin looked like Chicago. Like I was walking through it and I was like, dude, this looks like Chicago. Like there's the river, everything's in snow and the natural park and stuff like that. And I was just like, holy crap, I've never seen the city look like this. It
Was
was
it beautiful,
wild.
though?
It was really
In a
pretty.
yeah.
Yeah. It was just, it was
Unfortunately.
rough because like
Yeah, I
the
mean,
grocers really couldn't check people out. People didn't prepare, and even then, the morning of when our power went out, they sent out a tweet saying like, "Hey, we're just cycling power. Like, don't worry."
I mean,
And
people
that
just
went
made
on
the
for four
best
or
of it,
five
you know.
days,
Like
and then
some
we were
people's
like, "Well,
dogs got
"Yo,
to
come
experience.
on!" Like,
What does that do for Corona?
Yeah. Oh man.
well, okay, so that's actually the thing that I've been thinking about. That's like the gonna be the fallout, and we're still like the first week of it. And usually, Corona, completes incubation the second week. So I think in a week we're going to have a huge spike in cases because of so many people that crowded together. Like I know people that just gave up on the idea that corona exists and just were like, I don't care. I'm going to go into a shelter. I don't care. I'm going to go into my family's place and 10 of us are going to be in there.
I mean, that makes
Like,
sense. The immediate danger was the winter storm. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, people just didn't care, dude. I myself was in a home with like 5 or 6 people, and I haven't been in a home with that many people for longer. I haven't been around that many people in a
Probably
year. I'll
nice,
be
low
honest.
key.
It kind of was, yeah. It was good to be around some people for a while, man. But I
Boy, we
hadn't
would have
seen
lit
people
that
like that in a
propane.
year, man.
We would have lit that little, that
It
little
was your
portable
brother, right?
propane thing.
Yeah.
Does he have roommates, or is it his
Uh,
family?
yeah, yeah, and then other people. Like I took somebody that's a close friend of ours. Like I picked him up and was like, "Dude, we're going." Like, cause he has what we need. Like he had power, energy. He had the better part of a deer. So I mean, we were set. Like we could
The
for the
better
week.
part of a deer.
Yeah, man, that was
How
it
did
was
he
good
get this
meat, man.
deer?
Like,
How
That's
did he get the
badass.
deer?
huh?
How did he get the deer?
Oh, he's friends with hunters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he actually, as a hobbyist, likes to skin the deer and cook. He's what do they call him? A pit master?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he likes to prep the animal and stuff like that. And a lot of people like that's messy work and they don't like
I
it.
like doing it,
But my
yeah.
brother finds some kind of peace in it. And he likes getting the cut, making sure it's super lean, making sure the meat is like in the right, I guess the form to be pit
I would
mastered
equate it.
or like grilled. And then he likes to actually do the grilling process himself. And so people bring him meat so that they can have it prepped, and he'll usually keep some of it as like a favor.
Yeah, okay.
Dang. I bet he
That's
makes a
pretty nice.
great deer then.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny because he had a pressure cooker, and so I don't know if you all have ever eaten deer, but deer is a very gamey meat.
I've heard
No,
And
that.
so
yeah.
in the pressure cooker, that thing
I've had to eat cow
basically
tongue before.
the hit of the heat tears apart all of the tendons, and so it turns the meat into a really soft meat, and it's really good.
Hmm.
It actually makes sense to cook it like that. That's why I like smoked turkey when it's pressure cooked.
No, dude, I've eaten a cow tongue. I'm pretty sure I can. I've had I think I've had deer jerky,
I've never had
but
deer.
I don't think I've had deer. Well, I mean, deer jerky. It's technically
Bro,
deer
cow
meat,
tongues
but-
are my people's delicacy, bro. You say it like you went to an exotic land and fucking eat that shit. I was like, dude, I can
My
get
mom
that
eats
on
cow tongue.
Sunday.
My mom eats cow tongue. It's slick like beef. It's just like spongy.
Not that it was
Yeah,
exotic. I'm just.
I
saying,
actually don't like the exterior of the tongue though. It's too
Me neither,
leathery.
Yeah,
It feels like I'm licking meat off a belt.
That's what I'm saying.
I refuse.
So,
I just get the beef, dude. You get the beef, goat meat, lamb, all that good shit.
All right,
Lamb
well,
chop king.
I'm glad you're back, Doc. Missed you last week, bro.
yeah,
back to
happy to be
society.
out of that.
Glad it worked out for all my friends. Fortunately, all my friends came out. Some of them not so much.
One of them became a celebrity.
Oh yeah,
That's
we
pretty
did have
tight.
people
He became
being
a activist.
becoming infamous throughout the week from it.
All right,
We'll
let's
let
check
y'all figure out who that is.
this guy.
Spread that out there.
This guy.
It's a scavenger hunt, y'all.
Whatever. All right. Let's jump into. Let's do the CNN one.
Bot boys.
The new slang teens use to insult boys who are too nice to girls. So where to start?
CNN wrote an article. I'm just gonna tell y'all. CNN wrote an article about simps, bro. And they're saying simps is a new word that is used to antagonize boys who are too nice to females. I don't know what you would categorize as too nice. So I'll let the article say it.
Do they define it? Do they actually classify when you're too nice to a girl and become a simp?
It's telling a story right now
Gen
from.
Z teens, go up real quick.
Okay.
Gen Z teens and tweens likely picked up the use of the slang word simp from social media usage. This is a
Yeah,
7-year-old
and
man.
a mother
writing
picked
this
up her
on-
son, and he was sad, or it doesn't really say specifically what he
being
was.
called a simp.
Yeah, just that he was being called a simp. The mother didn't really know what it meant.
He's telling me this, and I'm driving. I'm trying to make sense of it. She said, "I've never heard the word." He told me it basically means I'm just being nice to girls because I like him. She said, "I was like, wait, my kid is being picked on for being nice to girls." Ugh. Yo, sometimes I wonder, like, what day is it when we get old and we just stop comprehending that we were once in school? I'm so confused. Because were you like this in school is what I always used to wonder when parents would give such bad advice for such small social issues. So I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go on a limb here and say he should be grateful that he's not being called gay. Like now, at least the most disrespectful thing they're saying to you is what?
Yeah, that was
You're
the
being
the
nice.
insult we were
Before
kids,
it
right?
was you're gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were calling you a bundle of sticks with ease. With ease. And now
They flew out of your mouths.
come
Yep.
on. And now they're calling him a simp because he probably was being cheesy or romantic. And It's teasing. It's not like it's like if you see if you know I got a girlfriend.
He
and
just
you
he
see
said
me
right
doing-
here is because he was put in the friend zone recently by a girl who made it clear she wasn't interested in him, and they continued to be friendly, and because of that they were calling him a
So
simp.
let me tell you this much: they
That's what-
wanted the best for your son. Am I wrong? They were seeing that he tried with her and she didn't, and then she still want to be friends. They said, my boy, no friendship. You don't need to be friends with her. What, you gonna just be friends with her knowing you like her until what? One day she eventually likes you? I ain't gonna lie to you. That sounds pretty simpish to me. I'm tripping. I'm tripping.
I think honestly, man, I've kind of seen the simp and the whole savage culture as a backlash. It's kind of like the dark side of feminism,
Yes.
where it's like, feminism is growing in prominence, and so the original acts of chivalry that were supposed to be what, like, early feminism, not feminism, but like it was like
femininity, what femininity
Well,
desired, looked
so
for.
the original idea was that like women were so weak that chivalry had to be in place so that men didn't take advantage of women. But now we're kind of flipping that mentality and raising feminism, and so men have to learn that women aren't weak anymore, or at least like have that institutional mindset. But I think this is the dark side of it. Like chivalry is dying because of it, because it no longer is needed, and so simp culture and savage culture is being born, where it's just like, oh, I don't have to be a fucking chivalrous guy anymore, because now if I'm chivalrous, I'm a simp.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a little bit different because in John's specific example with this, I think I understand what he's trying to say. Like, if you make an attempt at a girl, like you're interested in a girl, you like a girl, you make an attempt at her, and then she turns you down, but you're still like trying to pick her up and still be her friend, even though that's gonna come with you having to interact with her potential boyfriends and her interests.
Then she's
Like,
gonna,
me personally,
she's gonna
like,
benefit off of it.
Any girl I've pursued, we've been friends, but it's in like name only. It's like yeah, we be friends, but we don't talk after that. If we bump into each other, like we're very pleasant, we're polite, we're not mean to each other or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kept it civil, but I guess the reason why they're calling him simp, I'm assuming in the situation, I'm going to assume here, speculate that he probably why they probably called him simp was
He was doing simp shit.
hit the girl, hit up, denied him, and he just kept like probably putting her on a pedestal maybe. And the guys are like, dog, she turned you down, bro. Like, don't be a simp.
Like, don't be a simp, bro. Like, they wanted the best for like, no.
And then I would argue probably escalated from don't be a simp
And
to
then his mom is gonna enable
That's how-
more. Like, she's gonna.
how old is he is my question too. Because
No,
like you
eighth
said,
grade.
8th grade, that's right, 8th grade.
14.
Dog, we were brutal in 8th grade. We were brutal.
Dog, you're talking about somebody saying simp, and he wasn't even crying. He was really probably more sad about the girl rejecting him than he was them calling him a simp. I just don't get it. I don't get how this comes into an article. First off, the word is not new.
Well, I do agree with Doc's point too that this is the dark side of the feminist movement.
Like what? Like what
That
is?
chivalry's dying. I mean, if you
Oh,
read old Knights
pimp.
Tales,
Oh,
they're all
hold on, hold on,
simps,
hold on,
dude.
hold on, hold
Like
on, hold on.
they would write sonnets to girls that were already married. They would,
Don't
like
know how. Simp hashtags are rampant on TikTok. Instagram has over 350,000 posts tagged simp, and there are Facebook groups devoted to simps and simping. It can be a verb too. Depending on who you talk to, there's some debate on the word's current usage and how much, if at all, it has evolved over time. While simp's way back origins are connected to the word simpleton, I don't
Come
know.
on now, finish the sentence,
I
dog.
don't know. Its current usage is linked to the West Coast American rappers like Too Shorts, who first used it in mid '80s in a way that denotes the opposite of a pimp. In his song
Pimpology.
Pimpology. Now let me tell you this. Let me tell you this much. I from just hearing the word too short and seeing the word pimp, I'll tell you it didn't come from simpleton. It came from sissy and pimp. Point blank period. There needs to be no investigation done at all. It's very quite simple. Sissy and pimp. You're not a pimp. You're the opposite. What's the opposite? A sissy. You're a simp. That's it. This person, whoever's right, I hate articles like this, dude. I hate articles like this, dude. Completely. Because they're trying to approach it from some objective, woke angle. But there's no real, actual understanding. He's citing Urban Dictionary, bro. We can all put entries in Urban Dictionary. This is CNN citing Urban Dictionary. I bet you if you type
Urban
in
Dictionary's
go
top
to
definition of a
to
simp
type
is
in
someone who
simp,
does
go to Google,
way too
type in
much for a
simp.
person they like.
Go to simp.
I mean, that's
go
all
to
they have
Google,
to
type
go
in
on,
simp, and
though,
type in
like-
Urban Dictionary, and I bet you there's gonna be one of the definitions that says pussy ass, bitch ass, and they didn't cite that one.
Someone who does way too much for a person they like. That's the most likes, and then.
Keep going.
So, what's the purpose of the article, though?
Hey man, who
Like,
puts the?
Why didn't
for
they
the
use this one?
bros?
Why didn't they use this one? You get what I'm saying? How do you go to this place to
A
cite
word that everyone
anything?
overuses without the correct definition. It means a guy that is overly desperate for women, especially if she's a bad person or dang. Suckers.
Idolizing mediocre.
I got
Some male who will do anything for a little bit of play for a female. He usually chasing around a female who not even worth the work or time. Example,
See, I
guy
feel like
one.
sucker has always been the original simp word, though. Like, it's just
Exactly.
modernized. Like, there's
Yeah.
always been suckers in history,
Yeah.
and we've always known it.
Exactly.
yeah.
So this is a word for him now, and they're sad about it. So my problem is CNN cites Urban Dictionary, but you literally go to Urban Dictionary and see how many definitions.
It's just whether or not the most upvotes.
And he didn't even cite the example. I bought her car. I bought her
This
a
one has-
whole ass car, a whole ass house, and we not even dating.
I think it's just because in the US, dude, like, ideology travels so fast with social media that, like, you're able to you're able to hashtag things, and you can put power behind words. And so when you do it with a word like simp, all of a sudden, like, people have to sit and decipher it.
I think
That's interesting,
Okay.
actually. Okay.
I mean it makes sense. Okay, but now I can identify my problem. My problem with it is the internet thinking nothing existed before it. So like simp is new because we're saying it's new on the internet.
But we just say it's another word for sucker.
But we've been saying simp before we were using Twitter.
Okay, there we go. Yep.
So they get to write this article. Oh, simp's this new trending da 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 da. Just because they're just getting hip to it, but they're not the end all be all. And so that's my problem with it. Because
I kind of do get that. Like, if
the
you simplify it
article's
to that
written-
point, it's just like child in America called a sucker, and then that's the headline for the article. And you're like, what the
New
fuck?
epidemic.
Exactly.
New epidemic. Children being called suckers. Will be 60 minutes. We'll be live at 6. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? You get what I'm saying? And now because you guys, so this is my problem, and it's not a race thing at all, but it's these middle America soccer moms when they get hold of an issue, that's when it's an issue. So simps. Now it's a problem.
The world must
The
stop until
world
my
must
issue
stop
is
now,
solved.
and we have to disqualify the word simp. Simp. And then you break it simpleton, this and that. This, like, the way you define it, and you're defining something that comes from a culture, not hip hop, not black, not anything, just literally a culture that you
I
have
think it
no
came from
idea.
Twitch, the gamer
Simps?
I think it came from Twitch. That's the first
It
time
came
I
from
ever
the
heard
gamer
that.
community.
Same.
But I'm saying, like, whatever. I'm just saying, just
Yeah, yeah,
culturally,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
something you don't identify with.
Yeah.
And I hate when people do that. Like, you just, oh, they said this. Now I'm gonna place whatever small definition I found on Google and apply that to, okay, now we need mass change. My feelings are hurt. Don't like the word. They called my son a simp. He needs to continue to be
Have a soccer mom on TV,
manipulated.
she's like, yeah.
It's soccer mom shit, dude. He needs to
I came home,
continue to
picked
be
him up, and
manipulated by
they called him a
small
sucker.
children, females. I need him to ask me for $20 every week so he can buy this girl lunch. And when the boys chastise him because it's not the right thing for him to do, and he needs to mature and understand that everything that you want isn't everything that you need, and maybe sometimes that person may just not be for you and you need to move on, instead of him learning that lesson, now it's, don't antagonize my son. Those boys don't even know they're teaching him that lesson. They just understand that they can't look at what they're looking at. What they're looking at is wrong.
Am I wrong to think that I feel like we're having an issue? Not an issue. It's like we're trying to avoid some of our kids learning lessons when I feel like some of these lessons need to be learned.
And it's the moms. Dead ass. It's the moms, bro. The moms are, okay, so let me put it like this.
Oh,
not to get
gosh,
too
here
deep.
we go.
Not to get too deep. But I was watching a couple Jubilee episodes and da-da-da-da. Women have such an opinion now, and I don't want to say all women, but feminists have such an opinion on masculinity. And they actually are trying to steer us to their definition of masculinity that makes it safe for their idea of thinking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if you apply that to,
because anytime they ask a man to define masculinity, they'd never agree with it. But they're not a man, so what would they know what masculinity is?
exactly. So now apply that to this situation.
Just like they say, what would with femininity for them?
Apply this
Which
to
is
this
fine.
situation. So now the mom is trying to apply what she views as masculine because that's what she wants in a lover.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what she wants in her husband. We're more romantic. I want my husband to care for me. I'm not saying her husband doesn't do it. I'm just saying that's what she feels. That's all she's equating it to, which is selfish because it's a woman's point of view. She's not understanding the masculine part that he's missing in the interaction. She's just understanding the conclusion of how the woman would feel based on the interaction. But she's not understanding that the woman would have to be deserving of it.
Deserving of it. Yeah.
Yes. Like, you have to be deserving of it. You can't just, because he's being romantic to a girl he likes, that means he's going to get her. This girl may string him. The girl may not even intend to string him along, and just because. Now you've taught two people bad habits.
Well, I think it gets harder than that though, man. Because what if the child is just emulating what he sees his father do to his wife? I mean, like, technically, like, if they're in a loving relationship and the man is a caring lover, then technically he should act like a simp. You know what I mean? In like a perfect matrimony, and then the wife should, you know, reciprocate it. So he's doing that to other girls in the way that he sees maybe his dad do it.
100%.
And then other guys are calling him a simp for it. And then so, like, you are right. Like, he has to learn that he has to find somebody that's willing to reciprocate that properly.
I mean, not all men even know what masculinity is either. So, I mean,
The boys, and it's funny because children, they always said 3 people are going to be the most honest. Drunks, children, angry people, right? Children don't even understand the depth of the concept of what they're teaching him. They don't. It's just plain and simple what they're looking at. The concept of what they're looking at, it's not right. They just understand it's not right. They know what somebody being taken advantage of is. Point blank. And even if they're misconstruing the relationship between the boy and the girl, even though it says in the article she friend zoned him, even if they're misconstruing it, it's still they understand these are the symptoms of this thing. Just don't put yourself in position to be taken advantage of.
I'm just imagining the fucking journalist like interviewing the little girl and be like, so you friend zoned him.
Yep.
I
Oh, you
don't
did.
think that.
Do
I
you,
don't,
plan,
that would be.
do you have any plans on taking him out of the friend zone? And she's like sitting there twirling her tongue, her feet swinging. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is my third day here.
Ma'am, I'm from CNN. I'm here to talk to your daughter. So
Hmm.
did your friend zone?
I like to interview the friends. So you guys said simp. What does simp mean to you? That's bullshit, dude. I just hate shit like that.
Let's get away from simping.
Oh,
this
I can
well,
one.
understand. Well, I'll just say
speaking
like
of-
one last comment on it. I can totally understand it coming from the Twitch community though, because on Twitch, I've seen female streams, and dude, the comments like when you see the chat going up because it's just
Man.
like fucking consciousness being thrown onto a wall. Like there is some simp like shit on there that is just like, dude, chill. Like you can even see other commenters just be like, dude, chill, just let her play the game, or like they'll be like, I love every time you blink 3 times when you click that button. Like I
I wanna
love every
put that
time.
ice on
Like
your head
and
and
that's like
drink the water off
that
your
to
toes.
me, that's like simp shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, hey, he bought her flowers and like, it just didn't work out on Valentine's Day.
Okay. So would a simp be the type of guy who would have bought Bella Delphine's bathwater?
Bathwater, yep.
Yeah. And I think that's where it came from,
A
and
simp-
then it's
a
kind of
simp- a
starting to
simp would buy Erica
to
Badu's
channel
vagina
into
incense.
mainstream, modern day people outside of this weird collective, and it's now being thrown around as like a slang.
Because simp is a form of worship.
So
Yeah.
okay, let me ask you another question then. What if you were actually dating this girl
Hmm.
and no one knew, like this wasn't a public thing, but in private, like you would drink her bathwater? Would you still be a simp?
It would be a fetish.
And same
No,
with
no, it would be a
what
fetish.
the essence too, with the what's it called, like
The
it's like
vagina incense.
yeah.
No, it would be a fetish. But no, it wouldn't be a fetish. It would be a kink.
So the only thing separating it from a kink and from being
You're
a simp
sharing
and
the
having a kink
experience.
is,
It's mutually beneficial.
and the other one's
The
I think
girl,
parasitic.
I
the
think
girl,
though, if
the girl's in the girl is you being pleasured or being turned on by the thing is also pleasuring or turning her on is when it's a kink. Like if you're in a relationship with the girl and you like to drink her bathwater and she likes for you to drink her bathwater, it's a kink because it's something you guys are sharing. Whereas if she's just packaging bathwater and selling it on eBay and you're in line to get the bathwater, you're a simp because she doesn't know your name. There's no mutual real
Connection.
yeah,
on the
it kind of
experience.
it is what it is. Or it's just like it's a sucker, man. You're just like you're giving 40% of your
Sucker.
fucking
That's the
weekly
line.
check.
Either it is what it is, or you're being a
You're
sucker.
being a sucker. So that's what
Yeah.
you know what? That's what it is. We gotta get the kids to start walking around saying, "You fucking sucker. You a sucker." And he gonna be in the car like, "Man, what's wrong? Man, they was calling me a sucker."
So what if guys are okay with being simps? It is what it is, then,
But I'll
right?
tell you what, the way English language works, sucker is way worse because it evolves based on a play on words. It never actually has to do with what it is. So sucker is gonna end up wild. Why in 10 years, if kids are using sucker right now, in 10 years, you fucking blowjob. Like I'm telling you. In 10 years, that's the way that's just how slang works. It evolves off just something stupid. It's never like it's just a play on words. Like how there's no cap. Now everybody's saying no kizzy. Then watch, it's gonna be a play off of that, and it's just gonna keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. So no, we shouldn't use sucker. Trust me. Or your son's gonna end up saying some real explicit shit in the back of that car.
So that's why it's like, are we okay with the simp
I
now?
would be okay with simp. I would be okay with simp. Speaking of soccer moms,
Yeah, I was trying to just. I thought this was funny. So Coca Cola slammed for diversity training that urged workers to be less white.
and who is the trending
So-
head by? Oh, a soccer mom.
Is she a soccer mom? Damn.
I don't know. She just
looks
looks
like
like
one.
it.
So I'm just going to the slides real quick. So here's one slide. So to be less white is to be less oppressive, be less arrogant, be less certain, be less defensive, be less ignorant, be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. Then confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist.
Dude, that's I like that one term that they used in there. I don't know if it's in this article, but I read another one that had a term called reverse racism. That's
Oh,
pretty much
I
what that
hate
is,
that
man.
term. I hate that term.
Dude,
I hate that
It's just
fucking
racism.
term.
There's no such thing as
Like,
reverse
what
racism,
is
dog.
reverse
Yeah,
racism?
dude, what is reverse racism?
Reverse what?
I don't understand.
It goes the other way? Isn't that
Yeah,
like
that's
reverse racism? Isn't that like friendship?
A bond?
no.
I don't.
Uh,
Like, no.
That's
like,
'cause that's not the
companionship.
I'm only
inverse.
friends with you because
That's not the
you're
opposite.
black
though.
or something like that. Like, is that?
That's still racism.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
still
hate-
racism.
But
like
what's
if-
the hate involved? Racism has the hate, though.
Okay, so let's put it like
So
this.
I'm trying to think of what's
Let's
reverse
get to
is.
racism.
Okay.
Let's get to racism. We're at
Okay,
racism,
okay,
okay?
okay,
Fuck
okay.
you, nigga. We're at racism, okay? Now let's reverse it.
I love you.
I love you. Companionship.
No, that's inverting. That's not reversing.
Okay, so what would be
Okay,
the
reversing.
reverse?
Fuck you, cracker.
No, because that's implying racism is just white on black.
Well, your statement has a direction, so reversing the direction of who's being told the slur.
I
would
get
be the
you.
reverse
Okay,
of it.
so what about? There's no generalized term that I could use for the example, but reverse.
No, I'm not understanding still.
No, I get what he's saying. I inserted the word, so the reverse of it would be cracker.
attacking the other
This is what
person.
he's saying.
Okay,
But
okay.
also, I would like to argue against that because we learned on the last episode of Fake Deep Thinking that cracker is actually the term for the person
Oh yeah.
who was
some
whipping the
fucking
slave. So I would like
They
to.
fucking got us again, fucking white people.
Guys, damn.
I just don't like the term reverse racism because racism is just racism. If I'm black and I'm racist towards a white person, I'm
It's
racist.
still racism.
Like
Yeah.
if I'm white and I'm racist towards a black person, it's just racist.
Or an Asian.
The reverse racism.
Or Mexican.
Wild. It's wild that somebody put that word out
Or
there in the
you're-
world and it caught. And people started coining it and using reverse racism.
It's just being thrown the other way.
I-
To me, that's all I took it at. I didn't really.
Reverse.
I see what you're
reverse.
saying, though. It is under
Uno
the
card.
overall general umbrella of racism, so it's still racism.
Reverse racism sounds like
They're trying
a card on a racial Uno game.
But they did. That's what it is, though. This is what you're looking at, dude.
But why is it
Fucking
just
spin the
racism?
wheel of the turns, man. They're going backwards now.
So is Coca Cola? No, I don't want to say this because it's obviously a stretch, but some people are
So
making the
wait,
joke
Gene.
meme.
So
that-
Gene.
okay.
If you hit me in a car, right? It's a car accident. But if I hit you in a car, it's reverse car accident, right? Right?
Yeah,
That's reverse car accident.
yeah, dude. You reversed it.
Okay.
But what if
okay.
you hit him while reversing?
That's reverse car accident. Which is just car accident.
It's fake deep
Which-
thinking, y'all. This is what you come here for. It's fake deep thinking, y'all.
Boy,
are the
y'all
real
are
questions.
killing the game. Y'all are killing the game with the wordplay. Y'all gonna useless the English dictionary. I swear to God.
So could you argue these slices are actually teaching people to actually be racist towards white
Webster
people?
gonna retire.
Yes, they
If
very
I'm
much
Webster,
are, dude.
I'm calling it quits. 2021,
To be-
I'm calling
dude.
it fucking quits.
Dude, literally, the second line, to be less white is to be less arrogant. That already, that's racist. It's just like just because you're
Also,
white, you're an arrogant
That's
asshole.
arrogant.
That is arrogant. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
The whole slideshow. When she sat down in front of the computer, it was arrogant. When she typed the first letter, it was arrogant. When she finished it up and she said, yes.
To
and I'm
be
gonna
less
submit
white.
this.
Is to be less ignorant.
Can I argue this? I think this is the whitest thing you could do. May I?
Yes, please go on.
This sounds mad oppressive, mad arrogant, mad certain, mad offensive, hella ignorant, not humble. She not listening. I can't believe it. She has no empathy for white people, and it's divisive as fuck.
Yeah.
This is white, and under her definition, this is a cracker of a PowerPoint. That's
Bro,
wild.
imagine if this slide would have come out and that word at the top that says white
Mm.
had been replaced with black.
Yo, son, let me tell you something. I would have been in her class, raise my hand. Yes, John. Why you use black letters on white background, though? That seemed hella oppressive to me. Why ain't you use no other colors? Why can't it be a black background with white letters, huh? What you trying to say? We the only thing that can get erased? We the only thing that can get edited? Is that what you're saying? Because this is bullshit. How deep, how far are we going to think about racism? Like, how deep are we going to be woke? This is Inception.
I think at some
Inception
point,
of
man,
wokeness.
we all just gotta chill with it and just feel like we're good.
What do you mean?
Like it's like John said, like how deep are we gonna go with it? Like we can just keep running around in circles, just
Oh, my
jabbing each
God.
other.
Hey, guys, we're going to start doing skits. I'm putting it here on the podcast right now so that way it can't be stolen. If Dave Chappelle was still doing his show, if he did an Inception episode of wokeness, it'd be so fucking hilarious. Like every time somebody walked into a woke moment and they thought they were woke and then they
They'd go
realized they
deeper.
weren't, they'd wake up and it's a whole new level of wokeness. Dude, that shit would be fucking hilarious, dog.
Oh, we gotta go another level deep.
We gotta go another level deeper. South Park gonna do it. South Park gonna do it. They owe me money if they do that shit.
This guy. That'd be funny.
Before we know it, it's just like the dogs or like the people that actually own land and humans are just like outside and on fucking chains and shit, and they're just like,
If South Park does it, it's gonna fucking end up with slavery. Somehow they're gonna end up saying they end up so woke that slavery was the actual right thing to do, and they justify it because that's how South Park works. They have to make you. They will use the logic and literally find it until it can reach that point.
Okay, I feel like that's a perfect segue then. So I feel like I can.
Ha-ha.
Haha, right?
My boy.
So this is a clip of Biden's recent town hall, and I already showed it to Doc so he heard it. And I'm gonna play it real quick for the podcast, and then we're gonna
Can I
discuss
ask a
it.
question?
Yeah, go for it.
Does it look to y'all like Biden's forehead got bigger?
I mean, he's pretty old, man. He's probably losing more hair. It's probably just
No, but I mean,
more
like,
forehead.
The
Just more
whole
forehead.
forehead.
yeah, bro, they
Left,
put in new
right.
info in there. Just new knowledge.
It's looking a
Secrets.
little alien.
Not knowledge, dog.
It's looking a
Secrets.
little
Well, technically
reptilian
knowledge.
to
You're
me.
not wrong.
Looking a little reptilian to me.
This guy.
Look at him about to sneeze.
All right, here we go.
Mm.
So we talked about on the podcast some episodes back
They're forcing
about
labor, correct?
the
Labor camps.
Uyghur Muslims going on there.
They're basically going through a Holocaust.
Yeah, they're going through a Holocaust. They got some camps going on, and then with Hong Kong, that's just depending how you feel about that.
Can I sum up what
And he
Biden
just says
said?
cultural differences. So
Can I sum up what Biden just said?
go for it.
I'll bring it up. When I talk to him, I'll bring it up. But that's it. That's literally what he just said about the whole thing. Y'all don't like that shit? Yeah, I don't like it too. I'll bring it up to him. But y'all, he gonna do what he gonna do.
Just cultural differences.
Just cultural differences. That's literally what he just said. That's wild.
Well, this is what I mean, honestly, I always knew he was going to say this or he was going to do this. Trump was the one who was going to go to war with China. Like in my mind, Trump was the one who pressured China enough that I felt would have drawn conflict. I don't think I actually never thought Biden would draw conflict with China. If anything, he would probably unite the people to like sanction him and sanction them and stuff like that. As far as like join like some organizations with the EU and all that other bullshit, and then just kind of be like, well, we're gonna tax you, and we're gonna post banners that say don't hurt the Uyghurs, but or the Uyghur. I don't actually say it.
I was about to ask
Uyghurs.
about that.
Uyghurs.
Yeah,
But
I like
I
saying
don't think that they're gonna do anything because outside of actually going into China and forcibly dismantling these camps, we can't do anything. And
What
I
do you
actually brought
mean?
this up. Remember, I told you I had that whole podcast episode where I talked about going to save the Uyghurs, and we would have to arm ourselves and go in there. Like they're not gonna stop.
I'd argue technically we wouldn't have to go in there and physically save them. In this modern age, it would be through influence and technically speaking through trade. If it,
No,
if
But that
if the
then
Uyghur
that's
Muslim
what
thing
he's gonna
became such
do,
a problem
though.
that it affected their trade, they'd have to do something unless they then reacted.
I'm
But
about to
that's what
say,
he's
well,
gonna
I
do,
mean,
though.
yeah, those same sanctions are on a lot of African countries, and they're still enslaving children and doing all that crazy shit. So
And the whole thing about
he'd
Hong Kong,
have to
the
go in
only
there.
way to defend that city is to literally mobilize
No,
them.
I understand the Hong
Give
Kong
them
situation.
troops.
I understand the Hong Kong situation. Like, yeah,
Because
that's
by
the one where
law,
it's gonna
they
be
are
like,
going to
"I'll
reclaim
say
that
something,
city.
but what do you want me to do?
Mm,
What do you want me to do?"
man, amen, say man. Huh?
And so, like when Biden said this, I was just like, I agree with
But
it
people speak so passionately
because I
about how
knew he
like
was always
Hong
going to
Kong
say this,
or
but
not
we
the Hong,
all
sorry,
know
the
that like those
Holocaust
human
never
rights are wrong.
again, and it's going on again in China. So
This is what happens.
it's like, do
when
we
you're-
try to put pressure on them to stop through trade, or are we just gonna continue trading with them while they just go ahead and
I'll say
perform a
it.
Holocaust, and we're just like, yeah, man, it's just their culture.
I'll say it. This is what happens when you run, and your platform is social justice.
That's why I thought it was a perfect segue with what you said.
This is what happens.
When woke gets too.
Now we need answers for social. Now that's a social injustice.
Mm-hmm. It's a genuine social injustice going on.
But now, see, if I'm president and this is ignorant, this is why I can never be president. Plus, as soon as I became president, dick pictures would immediately surface.
Yeah, I couldn't be president. It's probably
But,
out there everywhere.
I'd get on that stage and say, "Look, I understand, but the only way we stop that problem is we go and we get them. Will you enlist to go and get them?"
That would actually be perceived as an enlistment speech, probably.
No, I know.
But that was actually what I said even within the podcast.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, look, if you're truly
if
a
you
social
truly have a
justice
problem with
warrior,
this,
Yeah.
these
we will
are
create
social injustices that are
Yeah.
happening.
You
Are
did
you
say
willing
that.
to
I
join the
remember.
military and actually do something about
and
it?
I would go a
Yeah.
step further. I'll create a fund and a separate force for those of you who feel passionate about this enough to go fight. And if we can amass enough troops for the cause to achieve it, based on what what our tacticians tell us, then we'll go.
So then we have to acknowledge the darker side of America. Then.
Now it's on you guys.
That's what I said last time.
What the? No, dog, give me prove it right. That's why we're coming back to this, dog. What do you mean?
I
Like, what
said
do you mean?
no, Doc. Two different things. I said we run out of resources. We have to ask the citizens.
You should
Hey,
be
they don't
hiding
wanna-
right now. Where's your
they
grin?
don't. They don't want to trade with us. Do we go get it or not? That morality is different than
Nah,
going
bro.
to save
I
somebody.
remember what you said. You said we have our own problems here, so we don't have to deal
Huh?
with that.
You said what?
You said we have our own problems here that we need to deal with before we do that.
Yes, I do agree with that. No, I'm not saying that we should go deal with it.
Yeah, he's not making a decision either way. He's just,
Yeah, I'm saying the president should say, like, okay, I understand the problem. The solution is this. This is how we get to the solution. If we can amass enough resources and people to achieve the resolution, yes. But that makes it on the onus of people to if they want to join or not. Now, if we can't get the 100,000 troops to join that we need, then we can't do it.
but you also gotta set
Bro, it kind of sounds like you're asking the people to make an imperialistic decision. Out of that.
But that's what I'm saying. But
What?
no.
That's
I'm not
wild,
gonna let
bro.
that slide because it's different, and you know it's different, Gene. because the first time was we ourselves need a resource. The other country does not want to trade with us. Do we ask the citizens, do we go and get it by force, or do we not ask the citizens and hide them from that morality of it? When you're going to save a group of people that you feel are being oppressed, you're feeding into the hero complex, you're feeding into the morality of the situation. So the citizens aren't losing anything mentally because they're saying we're making the right moral decision. Whereas if we know
So
we
you're
need
arguing
a
the application of it.
exactly if it's just for a resource,
But it's the same method though as
Yeah, it
I
is.
have
It's
no
imperialism,
problem,
dude.
and
You're
that wasn't the
exercising your will
problem.
by power.
My
Like it's still
problem
imperialism.
wasn't the imperialism. It was the morality. I said when you're forcing the citizens to question certain moralities, that's when you'll lose your society. So, for example, now there would be an uprise if we went to China and got the Uyghurs or whatever, however you pronounce their name, right? There would actually be a uprise or a small uptick of people with hero complex in America trying to save the day and doing something stupid. Okay, whereas
Because America told them that it was just to go save the
justified.
Uyghurs, and they're willing to
Whereas
put their
in
life
this
on the line.
situation with a resource, that's thievery. That's
No, because
robbery.
it's still the same thing. You're still asking them to make a decision based off their morality. If they all, as a cohesive group, come to the
We need this
decision
resource
that
to
that is
survive.
thievery, then by their morals, they will say no. You're asking them the exact same moral dilemma when you ask them, should we go save the Uyghurs?
I'm talking about the levity of the conclusion on the society. Like if there's repercussions for these two questions and they're different.
Yeah, but you're still asking them a moral dilemma, and that's
Yeah,
my
but
thing.
But my
it's still a
problem
moral
wasn't
dilemma.
the method, is what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
saying is the consequence of the type of question. The depth of the question is one is on paper is robbery. The other one is I'm trying to save somebody. If you apply it to every day, if you apply it to the lowest level of society, one is robbery. Do I need something? Yes. So I go get it from somebody who has
So
it.
then why aren't we then promoting this hero mentality version right now then for the Uyghur Muslims?
I don't know. I didn't say we shouldn't. I said if I was president to take it off of me, because we can all say what we want about Biden dodging and bending over. Do we all believe that we should mobilize to go get them? Honestly, I don't.
I never said mobilize. I was fine with what Trump was doing.
But just putting whatever through trade, right? So now if he just does that, people won't be happy because he ran his platform on social justice and and dramatic change, dramatic.
Shit, you're right. You might send us to war.
Exactly. So he has to do it platform wise. So I get what he's saying. Like it's imperialistic regardless, but America has always been the world's hero. That is ingrained in. That's why we're acting like how we act. That's
The
why
world
people
police. That's why people
feel.
Yeah.
And so we apply that to our regular society, right? And now we have the feminist movement. Now we had all these people who feel oppressed and all these things that feel oppressed that need a hero. And whoever can champion those causes, they're the police. They're the hero. Because
Damn,
in the
dude.
world, we've put that out. Whatever we put out in the world is what we apply into the smallest level societies. So I'm not saying that those two things aren't the same. I'm saying the repercussions of the two things are drastically different. When one is putting robbery into somebody's mind, the other one is putting at least the intention.
But I feel like that's
of
just stating
good.
the obvious. Like the whole reason why you guys gave me so much backlash is because you didn't believe in putting the moral dilemma into people's hands. But like, yeah, of course, there's an obvious, deviation and consequence at the end of it.
But that was my problem.
Say the
with
first part again. You cut out. I'm sorry.
I said that John's just kind of stating the obvious, and that the whole reason why you guys gave me so much backlash when I first proposed this idea was because you didn't agree with putting moral dilemmas in the people's hands.
I agree, but I still don't agree because
I think my issue.
I guess my issue was the specific.
My issue was
specific
the
example that
government's
I
involvement
used.
with the morality. I feel like that goes to the family. I don't think the government should do that. I feel like the family should do that. That was my big takeaway from it.
The family.
Morality influencing a building. I just.
Well,
whenever
not
government
necessarily
does
that.
I know,
My
but
whole
that
thing
was
was
my
that, like,
detachment from it. Like I feel like that comes from a solid familial unit.
And then one example was America voting on going to do something, And then the other example was, if you feel emboldened enough by the issue to enlist, that's up to you. One, you can stay out of it and make no decision. One, you're voting on going to go take something.
So knowing those two, it says we're going down this rabbit hole. Those two extremes exist. Then how can you be president? How can you balance that tightrope?
It's impossible. Like my whole premise is it's impossible. Like it's based off of the fact that it's impossible. You cannot. We've made citizens that are impossible to please.
Because I believe if a president like a Trump or Biden actually came out and said like, if you want to deal with this and you want to enlist, blah blah blah, I feel like people would actually enlist.
I agree.
I think they would actually.
I
Yeah.
feel like we said that last time too.
But
Which actually is why like I came to the epiphany that when John was speaking that like I always thought Trump was going to take us to war with China, but honestly, if Biden was to ask like, hey, who wants to go save the Uyghurs, we're probably going to war, dude. Like, I'm not going to deny that.
That's wild.
I mean, not Trump.
That's
If Biden was to ask that, like we
That's
might,
wild.
we might actually do it, like, because there's so much.
Based off
if
that
it's true,
comment, do you really think so?
This is just
if the whole social justice mentality that's across the nation right now that's in the zeitgeist,
But we rely on China.
if that is truly how the nation feels, then why would he deny what the people feel?
I agree.
And so that's why it's like if he asks that question, like, well,
But okay,
that'd be
so
interesting.
let's
My
go
whole
like
point
this.
for
Yeah,
the
it'd
whole
be
like
interesting.
moral dilemma in the people's hands and taking votes on these questions was so that we could actually see what America really is. If we're thieves and we're
Revealing.
stealing oil, then that's what we are. If we're actually going out to save, the Uyghurs in Hong Kong and stuff, then that's what we are. And
But do you think that corrupts the people?
I don't know. I actually think it's a little bit of both, man. I think sometimes some people will be up for stealing oil, and I also think sometimes people will be up
Individuals
for
who
saving
try
the
to
Uyghurs.
appeal to that ideal because that's what you're trying to motivate within
Okay, so I'm
society. So
Joe
that's
Biden's
why.
trying not to get canceled. This presidency has nothing to do with anything else other than he has to make 4 to 8 years of not getting canceled by social culture. He doesn't actually have to succeed at anything. He just needs to not be canceled. So this is his attempt at not being. He has to straddle a fine line of not being canceled, right? So what I've learned about cancel culture, people who deserve to be canceled, or people who don't deserve to be canceled, they immediately show a level of accountability. If you know it's fake or it's real, they show a level of accountability. When you put, to Doc's argument, when you put that accountability on the people, that's when there's more thought put into the subject.
That's why that's why I say family unit.
So you know what I'm saying? That's when there's more thought put into the subject.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. But when you have citizens of America how they are, and it's like, if America does it, it's okay. That's where like we believe that. And I just feel specifically in America, if we were to overturn the application and let people just vote on whatever it was, the justification, like it would trickle down, it would affect our laws. It would affect, I don't think the revelation of
That's how we
what
govern
America,
ourselves.
but I don't think the revelation of America would be what the government actually is. The revelation of America would be what the country actually is, the people, the society. And that itself, to me, is not something that is sustainable to keep.
But that's
the
how we
country
govern
together.
ourselves, dude. When you go to vote, you have laws and propositions that you vote on.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. But it's not in black and white. Let's go to this country and take oil, or let's go destabilize this
It's
government.
never been so
Yeah, you know
macro.
what I'm saying? So now when I'm
because
checking
it's
a
all
box,
been local.
when I'm checking a
states,
box,
That's
I'm voting
international, not something domestic.
on. It's different, and it's also different
It's
when
more weight.
I'm voting for somebody who I know, I guess, maybe pro-military, so he may send my soldiers, he may mobilize, versus me checking a box saying mobilize.
So then he says like the president's supposed to, like he said, is supposed to represent the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess
The problem is he doesn't, and that's what we're seeing.
I mean
He pretended to, and so now that there's pressure and he has to make a decision, we're seeing if he would have been up if he was an accurate representation of what the loudest section of people are on the issue. Then he would have went up there and said, "Yeah, fuck it, we finna get lit. Let's go." But because he had any hesitation, it shows, dude, that this is not genuinely. He's genuinely not where the people are on the issue. But I'm not there on the issue. So what is the majority of people on the issue? Because I don't think we should go.
I don't think we should go physically. I don't think we should go either. That's why I'm okay with what Trump was doing to trade.
I don't think we should physically mobilize and go. So now, let's go back to the examples, right? So now, what if we just make it point blank? We vote to go, we vote not to go. Would the people, when we vote not to go, would the people who wanted to go be okay, or would they have been better with an opportunity to do their own thing?
I think we should go, but I haven't made my peace whether or not I would go.
See, that's honestly that's for me. The fact that I haven't made that peace that I would go. That's why I can't say I would go.
I would only say we should go if I would go. There's no way I could say we should go if I wouldn't go.
And because I hesitate too, which is why I still say like
I need to go. Like, I grow up my whole life, and this is what I go put my life on the line for.
But there are other ways. That's why I'm like, that's why I keep saying, like, that's why I was okay with Trump through trade. There are other ways to deal with it. We don't have to do it physically.
It shouldn't be going on.
What with
What's going
China?
on with them? It shouldn't be going on.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not right.
That's why I said.
But like I said before, we have stuff going on here.
Yes, that's true.
So like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, let's get stable. Let's get stable, and then we can address the world. But every time we take resources and we put it somewhere else before making sure the home front. But I mean, I guess that's idealistic too, because when will the home front ever be shored up? When will we ever be stable?
That's the hard part about it.
When's the
I don't
right
think
time?
that like Biden's gonna unite the country to do it. And I
Ever.
didn't think Trump would have the ability to do it either. Maybe whoever comes up after them, or unless Biden does something incredible. But who knows? That's why I thought like if he is willing to rejoin all these organizations within like the Western coalitions and stuff like that for the European nations, then maybe something can be drawn up that can be do it, and somehow NATO can be involved or something like that. Um, but that's like the legal route, and I don't know how China's actually getting away with that part.
Okay, then question.
Like, cause we saw the
we do
clips, like the
these-
interview. I forgot
okay.
where it was.
Yeah,
Kim,
like people know. That's
Well,
why.
yeah,
That's why
horrible.
the question is like, why hasn't
He avoided the
Look,
questions
world government-
completely.
How
Like,
many of them are there?
how many are there? What?
The Uyghurs.
Oh, man, I'm pretty sure it's in the.
Millions?
No, I don't think it's the millions. I think if it is the millions, that's crazy. How do you spell it? Where is it?
Isn't it?
I think it honestly too is the pandemic. If the pandemic
There it
wasn't
is.
going on right now, this would be a bigger issue. If every country wasn't trying to keep itself alive, essentially.
Oh my God! Just to be over 12 million Uyghurs in the whole China, so there's no telling how many are in the.
Concentration camps. I don't know if I can
So
even say
I
that.
say that to say this, right? We go there, we save them. Where do we put them?
Apparently, not supposed to say certain things that you do.
No, where do we put them?
If we go save and bring it back, we're supposed to put them.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You would they would I would assume
Here.
it would be a large amount of people or like a large organization that does it, and they would probably do the same thing they did with the
We'd have
with
to
the
give refugee
rescued-
status. Refugee status
with the
to
people that they
nationals.
rescued after World War II, where they dispersed
to be
them
honest with you-
basically to go home, or they went to different nations and stuff.
As someone who is okay with Trump's immigration plan, I would be actually okay with this because these would be genuine refugees. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I would be okay with this personally.
I would be okay with it too. I'm just asking. So now, how do you think a large percentage of the Latin community would vote on it?
For this?
Because like
To bring them over, like,
to
share-
if they understand the whole process.
Yeah,
Not
I-
even Latin, the large percentages of immigrants voting here, or people with immigrant families.
I would assume they'd. I feel
Be
like
okay
immigrants
with it,
are
right?
pro immigration, and this is technically an immigration thing, refugee status and all that stuff. Wouldn't it be under the same
I
umbrella?
think you'd be surprised.
That'd be interesting.
I actually don't know much about those people. Do they have like a natural, not natural, because that makes them sound
But I
like
get what you're
animals,
saying
but like,
about
do
to
they
say.
have like a home in China that was basically swallowed up by China,
Are they
much
technically
like
like
much
Mongolian
like the
type?
Israelis? I mean, they had Israel, but they technically didn't have Israel before World War II, and then we gave them Israel afterwards.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
why the Uyghurs
You're gonna get us
have,
canceled.
if the Uyghurs have like a region of China that used to be theirs,
We can just give it to
mm,
them.
I mean, honestly, we probably would afterwards, because the only way people would accomplish this by force is to go to war with China,
So then how do we?
and so by
So
the end of it,
we have to split up China.
somebody would conquer the other.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
A mass migration of Han Chinese majority to Xinjiang, and the Uyghurs feel their culture and livelihoods are under threat.
Why would they migrate there?
So I guess
Oh yeah, they're getting as close as they can to.
Are they? Oh, they're leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then there were people that were naturally in China that just had different belief systems. That's even more complicated, because then they want to stay home. Like,
So what? Do you form a new territory for them?
so we've already
that's probably what would happen after the
U.S.
war.
So we've already accused them apparently based off the news, or this is BBC. Yeah, BBC.com. Apparently based from BBC. Apparently the U.S. has already accused China of committing genocide against the Uyghurs.
I mean, it makes sense. China's trying to get rid of religion.
Yeah, like remember, I don't know. Did we talk about it? China was getting rid of certain statues and
Yeah, we did run over it on a podcast. They're essentially killing all religion to
things
just
are
make
getting wild
the
in
commune.
China, man. I don't know.
And they're doing their
So
thing.
is
which
Biden right? It's just culture differences, like.
No, it's not cultural differences. It's fucking evil what's going on over there. It's just like, dude,
Man.
the reality of the world, man. It's getting so big and it's getting so small at the same time. It's like, what do we? Everything's naked and bare now. What do we address? And everything is so also nuanced. It's like every step you take is a misstep for another issue, because we're so deep into everything. We've gotten so far into the journey without actually making calculated steps. So now to the point we're so deep that if we go in any direction, we're fucking up something else that we should have set up the foundation for properly. Like if I step this way, I'm offending somebody else because at one point they were oppressed. At one point we did this to them. At one point we
Dude,
did that
honestly,
to them.
I think that's because of the amount of information that we consume every day. Like, I think if we basically stop doing that to an extent, or at least control it, we'll stop feeling that way. Like, I honestly think at some point, like, I recently had this feeling in myself where I was just like, you know what? I don't care anymore.
Yup.
Like, I'm gonna do me. Like, everything I thought was just suddenly flipped on me in the world, and the way I was navigating isn't the way I should have been navigating according to what I'm seeing on screens around me every day. And so at some point, it's just like, dude, like, yeah, I'm gonna do my best to be my best, but I'm also going to walk the line that I choose to walk and walk it as best as I can, and whatever happens, happens.
That's true. Well, I did say if America's gonna be the villain, you might as well play that role. But it's just, oof,
Man.
boy, what's gonna go on inside the country? Can you think? Okay, so let's do this.
All right, last one. Because
Imagine,
we already had like 10.
imagine
10
a
after hours.
political race. Imagine a political race 20 years after we decide to let the public start deciding on these issues.
How long?
Imagine a political race 20 years, 30 years.
Okay.
Imagine the commercials that would run, since we're so focused on being revealing in truth.
It'd be kind of like what's that movie? Stormtroopers
Commercials
with the
would be-
bugs.
The commercials would be
Dude,
crazy.
Replace
yeah.
bugs with like China or like.
Like it would be wild. The amount of propaganda we'd see on TV would
Yeah.
be crazy. Crazy. I don't know, dude.
I mean, that
Can you
happened
imagine
in
what
like
the
World
person's
War,
gonna be
World
like,
War
though?
II,
Like
the
this-
stuff like that happened. Like
I told
back
you
to
at
that.
a young age we had too many rights.
Were you saying,
Bro.
I
Doc?
feel like the person's gonna be wild. They'll be like, look at this, like, albino, gender neutral, like, just some weird, all religions at once faith. It's gonna be like Futurama. If they did this in Futurama, there's like one person who's the Pope that's got like all the religions at once. And the
then
person, like, you can't tell if they're an alien or a person. They're just like everything. They're just like all inclusive, and we're like, that's our representative.
And then the other candidate is gonna be like, man, fuck this guy. He's gonna be some.
It's just a normal person. Fuck that guy.
All right, guys. I think that's enough fake deep thinking. Make sure you check out our YouTube page at Fake Deep Thinking. Follow our Twitter, Podcast FDT. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. See you next time on Fake Deep Thinking. Peace.